program in Sioux City, Iowa. Uh, they gave me the opportunity. I flew down there and checked it out. Didn't have the facilities that I was just around or anything like that. But what they did have, they had young men that really cared about football, that
Mm-hmm.
really love what they do. So I checked it out and I said I can make these guys take the next step. I can help them take the next step. And so I became a defensive coordinator there for a year. Enjoyed my time there with them. Really poured a lot into those guys. And so, we did a lot of big time things. We had a couple shutouts, first time in school history. Had their first All-American in football, one of the outside linebackers. So, yeah, it was great. It was a great learning experience. I was able to put everything together from a defensive coordinator perspective, and it was up to me. Like if things weren't going right, coach, what are we gonna do? What's the
Mm-hmm.
answer? So I enjoyed that. It was great. I lived up to the challenge, and that's what it's all about, growth.
What did you now? What part of Iowa did you say this was in, Coach?
Sioux City, Iowa. It's
Sioux
about
City.
Sioux City. It's like right on the border of Iowa and Nebraska. So
Okay.
middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
middle of America.
How did you go about learning as a defensive coordinator at that time? I mean, young guy. What was your ways of learning at that particular time?
Well, I had, learned through my experiences at, University of Washington. So I took really detailed notes while I was there.
Good
I
stuff.
wrote everything down. I know Coach Chris Petersen, he put it into our brains, like writing things down crystallizes your thinking. And so, you're able to retain a lot more when you write things down. So I would date everything that I would do, everything we were talking about, I would write it down. So when I was running the show myself, I could always go back to those notes. Okay, how did we install this? What was the progression of that install? Why are we installing this? What's giving us issues? What are the answers to those issues? And so that helped train me from a schematic standpoint of, okay, what defense am I running? What are teams going to try to do to attack it? Now, what are my answers that I have if they're doing X, Y, and Z? And it allowed me to be able to think, further and further ahead. So, again, my experience that I had before had already prepped me because I was in the moment. I asked the right questions. So I kind of had a good idea on how I was going to be attacked and, how to build my players up in a way that they can go out and execute at a high level.
Let me ask you this, Coach, because you was around Coach Peterson, who was a really good Hall of Fame type coach. Give me some nuggets that Coach may have given you.
For one, writing things down crystallizes your thinking. Just the culture. What does culture look like? I know it's a phrase that a lot of people throw around, but the way Coach Peterson, he emphasized it on a daily basis. It wasn't just words. He put actions behind it, and really just gave you things to think about. He challenged the way you think. And he always had a book that he recommended to help you grow, and just really there's little nuggets that he'll give you no matter where you're at to help you take that next step in your development. He was really great at growing people around him so that they can be the best version of themselves. So ultimately, if everybody's growing, everybody's getting better, the product is going to speak for itself. So he really, showed me how to cultivate um, uh, the student athletes and really help them take those next steps while he poured into us as coaches.
That's really good. That's really good because I think that there was kind of a saying: leaders create other leaders, not followers. So I think that's very powerful. So you run the show down there in Iowa for a little bit. Um, Defense coordinator, walk me through that next step when you leave there.
Yep. So then from there, I ended up going to Pittsburgh State.
Okay, now.
Yeah, which is the all-time winningest Division II program. Unbelievable facilities, just